NBC's senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Hake is at the Capitol, and NBC's Monica Alba is outside the White House. So, Garrett, why bring this impeachment inquiry now? Is it potentially more about the funding deadline than impeachment? What's McCarthy's game here?
Well, look, Ryan, they're certainly related. I'm one of the people who believe that when House Republicans took control of this chamber after the last election, an impeachment of Joe Biden was probably inevitable. It was just a question of when the pressure got too great for McCarthy and moderates who don't want to go down this road to hold it back. And it seems like that moment is now. I think after the debt ceiling deal, McCarthy had used up some of the chips and some of the trust that he had with those far-right members, striking a deal that they ultimately weren't satisfied with. Now he's got to escalate to keep things moving along. I'm not certain that it will work, but part of this sort of mess here is they're not having a vote to launch this, I think in part because McCarthy doesn't have the votes to do it right now. I pressed him on this at some length a few minutes ago, and I want to play a little bit of what he said and talk about why it's relevant on the other side. Why are you not holding a vote on this if you're going to go down the impeachment inquiry path? 11 days ago, you said you would.
Well, Nancy Pelosi on September 24th changed the precedents for the House, so she changed the course of what we could do. It doesn't...
You said this on the 1st of this month,
yeah,
though, that you would have a vote.
And I said today that Nancy Pelosi on 9/24 changed the precedent of the House, and you don't have to have a vote.
You have no intention of doing that, then?
I didn't say that. It doesn't
which is it, then? Forgive me for being confused. I mean...
Well, I'm sorry you're confused. Were you confused when Nancy Pelosi did it?
Well,
were you confused when Nancy Pelosi did it? Then don't be confused.
Well, you've been very clear that you would, is I guess the big difference here.
It's interesting, when Nancy changed the rules, it's all changed.
Ryan, I've been on the phone with legal experts all day trying to pin this down and going back through the history of it. In 2019 and Donald Trump's first impeachment, there was no official impeachment inquiry vote to get the process started. But then there was this deluge of evidence, including the transcript of the phone call that undergirded that whole impeachment. That ultimately did lead to a vote. I think McCarthy's hoping for something similar to happen here, that by starting this process, by shining a bigger spotlight on these ongoing investigations, if something shakes out, the politics will improve for him down the line to have the vote that he has promised on the record time and again.
Yeah, and especially because he was so emphatic about doing the exact opposite a little more than a week ago. He seems to be a little bit more flip about it now. So, Garrett, if this move was to buy goodwill with the right wing of his caucus, did it work? I mean, from your conversations with folks today, are these Freedom Caucus folks, like we just saw Matt Gaetz on the floor, warning him that a motion to vacate is on the table? Have they calmed down now, or is he maybe still going to need Democratic votes to pass a continuing resolution to keep the government open by the end of the month?
Yeah, look, there's a wide spectrum of answers to that question. I mean, Matt Gaetz is never going to come around on Kevin McCarthy. He's never been a fan. I don't think he's going to start now. But someone like a Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example, who's been supportive of McCarthy in his battle for the speakership, but sometimes critical that he doesn't go far enough on going after Joe Biden or supporting Donald Trump. This is a move that she has praised quite publicly today and might be the kind of thing that brings her along a little bit on the spending bills. But remember, Ryan, I mean, and you cover this every day like I do, McCarthy has kind of a if you give a mouse a cookie problem with the Freedom Caucus. He can never go quite far enough on a lot of these issues. When he starts to give a little bit, there's more to be asked. And so, look, did he buy himself perhaps some time, perhaps some goodwill today? Yes. But the bar goes higher and higher. The challenge gets bigger and bigger every time. And there's only so many cards he has available to play as we start to approach the end of this month.
And, of course, there's the concerns he has with the far right of the party, which Marjorie Taylor Greene is a part of, Matt Gaetz is a part of. But there's also a sizable moderate group, I think 18 House Republicans that won districts that President Biden also won. Are we getting any sense from them where they stand on this move by Kevin McCarthy?
They have been, as a group, fairly quiet so far, Ryan. I mean, I think part of what McCarthy did for them today was by not holding a vote, he lets them keep their powder dry a little bit longer. They could be generally supportive or generally critical, but they don't have to go fully on the record until they see if their colleagues on some of these investigative committees are able to produce any more evidence. Part of being a moderate in today's age in the House House is you're very reliant, however, on leadership to get you reelected. You need Kevin McCarthy. You need his super PAC. You need the money that gets spent. So there's a tension for the moderates between their desire to, not ally themselves with the far right of their conference, but also not make enemies of the leadership. So if McCarthy and House leadership says this is the path we're going down, those moderates have a very fine line to walk where they don't want to, irritate some of their constituents who don't want them to be like the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the conference, but also not alienate their own leadership by coming straight out and saying they think this is a bad idea. It's going to be a tough couple of weeks to be like a New York Republican, I think.
Right, no doubt about that. All right, so Monica, we've reported from both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue how Democrats plan to go on the offensive with this looming impeachment threat. What is the White House doing so far?
Well, they really are saying, hey, we prepared for this. We thought this was likely going to happen. Since earlier this year, they've been getting this war room together that in August really ramped up because they were, again, expecting this as a real possibility. But they're pointing out a lot of these issues that the two of you who do this day in and day out have just spent a lot of time talking about, which is the fact that Speaker McCarthy announced this inquiry without a vote. They're going to try to make a big deal of what they are calling this hypocrisy, given his comments back in 2019 when then Speaker Pelosi did the same thing. And so I think you can expect them to also just continue to have this rapid response effort that's basically this mega list of every Republican who in the last couple of weeks expressed a little bit of doubt and skepticism, some of them privately, but a lot of them now more publicly, saying, I don't know that the evidence is there. I'm not sure where this could go. I'm not sure this is the best use of time. So expect the White House to be consistently pointing that out. And then, of course, they have these lawyers, they have aides and everybody going through this and mounting this response. But overall, they're using a roadmap from 1998 when then President Bill Clinton was impeached. And they like to point out that presidents who were impeached in the last couple of decades actually sometimes saw their poll numbers go up. So they're by no means saying that this is what they would definitely like to see happen, but they're pointing out that there might be a slight political upside here potentially. And they're also underscoring that they would like to see the evidence that these Republicans are talking about, because so far it's not clear that there has been any specifically, and that they would even point to the IRS whistleblower and those under oath who said they couldn't provide any linkage between what Hunter Biden was doing in his business dealings and directly tying that to the president, who was then Vice President Joe Biden. So all of those questions the White House is going to continue to raise. And again, they have their own sort of arm of the White House counsel's office doing this on the daily. You're not going to see the president want to engage on this very much. He's going to try to dismiss it as they try to focus on some of the other agenda items here, Ryan.
And just quickly, Monica, do we have any idea how the president himself is taking in this news?
Well, I think, again, this is something that they did prepare for, so it didn't come as any kind of a shock. I think the bigger question and what they're watching really closely is how this is going to end up becoming even more complicated by a potential government shutdown just days away now on the horizon. Ryan.
All right, Garrett and Monica, thank you both.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.